Now, though, let's start with these wildfires in Greece. The country is facing an unprecedented environmental crisis. That's according to the country's Prime Minister. He predicts the worst is yet to come, with strong winds expected to whip up the flames. And as Mark Lobel reports now, people are coming under pressure to abandon their homes.
As villages like these in the Peloponnese burn, the Greek Prime Minister's urging extreme caution. Houses can be rebuilt, he says. Trees can regrow. However, human life cannot be replaced. But abandoning your home is never easy in your 70s.
Leave and go where? And let my house burn? If we had left, this place would have burned. We told the women and elderly and kids to go. And whoever was able stayed to help, however they could.
Crops are at risk too. So far, 6,000 hectares of land have burned in 3 days of wildfires, over half last year's total.
The agricultural wealth of the village has been decimated. Nothing is left. Olive trees, sheep, goats, stables, everything.
Westward winds have blown new life into these fires north of Athens. With temperatures well over 40 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the past week's been Greece's worst heatwave since the late 80s. With fires continuing to spread, local politicians have denounced a lack of resources. The army is doubling its efforts. But is our changing environment to blame? Climate change is producing hotter temperatures and making droughts more frequent, conditions that can fuel wildfires.
We have a debt to shield the country against the reality of climate change. I am not looking for excuses. We have made important strides in organising the country, but these are not enough when you're faced with a phenomenon of such magnitude.
For those that believe such talk is merely a smokescreen, the PM invites them to visit the fires for themselves. Fires now spreading across southern Europe, where many, including Italians, Spaniards, Turks, Albanians and North Macedonians, are also asking just what is behind this summer heatwave that's causing familiar seasonal fires to act in such extreme ways. Mark Lobel, BBC News.
Well, Lenio Mirivili is the Chief Heat Officer with the Arsht and Rockefeller Resilience Centre and the former Deputy Mayor of Athens. She told me what the situation was like where she is.
I'm in the centre of Athens, so I'm about 20 to 30 kilometres away from where all this is happening. We've had heavy smoke, clouds over the city on and off for 2 days, 3 days now. At times it feels like they're very dark and red and apocalyptic. There's like ash falling. And today, even though right now outside of my window the skies are blue, it still is really hard to breathe because of the pollution, the air pollution and the microparticles. We've been asked to wear masks, N95s or double mask so that we don't inhale all this burnt matter.
I see. And just how unusual is this for you to experience this?
Well, we've had this extremely unusual heat that started in June, which usually it never happens in June. Usually we have heat waves and extreme heat in July and mostly August. So this year it started in June, early June, and it's been going on and on and on with temperatures above in high 30s and last week in the low 40s Celsius. With just a couple of weeks respite where the temperatures fell in the low 30s. So for many, many weeks, we've had extraordinary heat, extremely low levels of humidity. And so all of the ecosystems have been extremely dry and totally imbalanced.
And what relation do you think this has with climate change?
I think it's directly related to climate change. We've experienced in the last decade the highest levels of heat than we've ever experienced, I think historically, as far as documented temperatures. are concerned. In Europe, we've had 2020 was the hottest year ever recorded. And, you know, we've been talking about global warming for decades, and we haven't really kind of realized that global warming also means extraordinary heat, and especially extraordinary heat for cities. And the more people move to cities, now we have almost half the population of the earth living in cities for the first time in history ever, the more we're bringing more activity in the cities and more fossil fuel production fossil fuel consumption and CO2 emissions production in cities and extreme heat in cities.
Yeah, our thanks there to Linia Mirivilli for talking us through that from Greece.